Assalamu alaikum. Abdul was just about to do his homework, and there he is again. He sees a difficult problem within his math homework, and he just gives up. And guess what he does? As if he thinks it's no big deal, he prioritizes something else, and that's playing another game. He's not even supposed to do it. No, Abdul. Again. You see him again, he messes up. This is his 87th time, unfortunately. Abdul just messed up. Goodness Lord, Abdul, you are just bad at this. Abdul, unfortunately, he's someone you just don't want to be. And by any chance, do you relate to him? You do. You know what this is? Procrastination. Procrastination in its most basic form simply means you are postponing a task due to some odd reason. Whether that is a lack of motivation, undisciplined, or a temptation that seems to be more rewarding than the task at hand, or fear of failure, perfectionism, whatever it may be, you just happen to be one. Now, that's normal, but does that dismiss the fact that you should be doing it? Not really. So today, I thought about helping you because I'm super kind. I want to help you destroy this thing that you may have been struck by called procrastination with a Justin Sung inspired procrastination busting system. I learned this from this YouTuber, Justin Sung, and I do want you to watch his content because I'm kind of learning lots of cool things from him. Regardless, let's go to the point. Procrastination busting system. There's an acronym, BEDS-M, that represents a technique per each letter, and to use this to the full potential, not just using one technique, but others, you will get down to the point and you will succeed in destroying this completely. Please trust me, this is how it goes. Let's get right into it. Burn ship strategy. This is developed by Hernan Cortez himself when he brought his troop into a foreign land to invade, and he burnt all his ships. Why would he do that? To invade another land. Now there's no room for failure, there's no escape. If they die there in that land. So burning that ship was a method to instill fear from within the troop to have zero rate failure. What you have to do is, how you can implement this is you have to do something, a consequence that will elicit much fear, that will propel movement on your side to do what you were supposed to do. So for me personally, what I would do is, I'm not very good at math. And if you know about me, I just hate math. I'm just not good at it. So I can place myself, which I did, in a library with highly intellectual people who love playing chess like I do, but I suck at math like no one else does in that group. And I do not want to be the only person to not be able to do what I was supposed to do at a perfect shot. So I decided, why not just stay there, to use that people pleaser need to get rid of this procrastination behavior. Because every single time I do math and something hard tends to strike, I don't feel like doing it. And guess what? That worked. Why? Because that was something that was fearful enough for me to propel movement. The second technique is called environment. Specifically, molding your environment in a way that makes habits, the ones that you desire, the good ones, easy, and the bad ones harder. You want to make success something conducive to your environment. You have to make it easy. So what you want to do is, success is basically a set of actions that compounds over time that brings you to the desired goal. And that is no better done than making it easy for yourself by making good habits easier and bad habits harder. If you have a phone on your desk, please take that out. Because highly disciplined people are those who spend lots of time in actually crafting their environment so that temptations don't come to them when they have to work, because they understand how energy is precious, and if you use any ounce of energy to try and resist yourself from a temptation, that does more harm than good. Because at the end of the day, you try to get rid of that temptation and you use your willpower, now you don't feel to do work anymore because you did exactly what you're not supposed to do. You're saving up your energy for something that's worthwhile, and that's where you're putting your energy in. So remember, switch your environment. This does whole ton of effect in the long run for you. On top of that, let's get to the next one. Distraction cheat sheet. This is simply put, you have a paper on your side and a pencil, and the second a distraction thought or a urge comes about, you write it down on paper, right? All distractions are kind of triggered by external. So This is basically a backup plan to if you messed up kind of during optimizing your environment. Let's say you still have some distraction thought, or maybe you just have an urge, right? You write that urge on paper and you just continue with your work. When you come to your study session next time, you review this paper as if it was some history log, and you just refine your environment once again using this paper, using this as reference to avoid potential problems afterwards. If you still see some problems, you will need to refer to this paper and refine your environment again and again till it comes perfect. This serves another purpose as well, as all habits are kind of automatic. Habits is defined as the automatic set of actions that is done at a longer time frame. And usually these habits that are automatic happens to be bad habits. Automatic habits, actions are not consciously controlled but subconscious. Whatever is automatic is done by the subconscious. And the first step is to realize the habit is there in the first place. But you don't even know the habit exists in the first place. The fact that you are scrolling on your phone, because it's so second nature, you don't even have to think about it. So you're not even aware that this habit even exists in the first place. What a distraction cheat sheet does here is actually makes you aware of the phone you have in your hand. As you write it down, you're more conscious of it, and that is the first step. Because if you don't even know the enemy at hand and the enemy is visible, but it's still punching you, how are you supposed to defend anyway, right? You have to make awareness of the enemy at hand, become conscious of it, then you can mold it. So basically you're at step 0, where the habit is just you need to figure out the bad habit in the first place, because you don't even know what the habit is in the first place. Then can you move up the ranks and say, all right, perfect, I figured out the habit. Now it's all about destroying the habit through switching the environment. So D plays a whole ton of game in helping you switch the environment even more effectively. S stands for scheduling. If you're not already doing it, you must do it now. I don't know what you're waiting for, but the second you wake up, you must have a design in your day. You have to have your mind know that I need a to-do list. I just need to set up what I have to do. Unless you know already what you're supposed to do, please wake up with a plan every single day. This is for the best of you. If you have a goal, please make sure you're working towards it, because I believe that your life kind of revolves around your goals, and fulfillment comes from your goals. So you must have goals set up in reach, because if you don't have goals, you're gonna force yourself to consume random content that will put you in the path of degeneracy. And of course, you just want to have goals to at the very least keep your mind sane. So have a to-do list, have an action plan, so that you can be disciplined on the course to the success you want. Please keep a to-do list. I cannot get any more realer than you than this. It's just you need to do it. Can't do anything about it. M stands for minimum viable goals. A concept that you've never heard, but I will tell you right now that let's say you have a bigger goal up at hand, 2 hours study time that you need to study for. Minimum viable goals is to break that down into smaller goals in general. Instead of studying for 2 hours, study for 30 minutes in 4 chunks. 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, which makes 2 hours in general. But the thing is here is that you will study 30 minutes, which is the minimum required achievement goal. And if you want to go even lower than that, you can even go lower than that, 30 minutes. You can go study for 15 minutes, even for heck, 5 minutes. At the very least, you are studying. And you need momentum. Minimum viable goals is all about setting up momentum. And if you can't study for 3 minutes, 5 minutes does a whole lot, because you're doing something instead of nothing. So as shallow and as it may sound, as weak as it may sound, it's not my fault that I have to state this advice this way, where I have to go all the way down so that you actually achieve your goals, because it's your fault, not mine, for giving you such a soft advice on yourself. Because usually, if I was myself here, I would say, no, you're not gonna just study for 5 minutes. That's for me, 5 minutes, like, it hits my ego. Like, 5 minutes, that's an insult to me. That should be an insult to you too. Like, why would you let someone like me tell you to study for 5 minutes? I'm basically insinuating that you are someone with a low attention span that cannot think for yourself. That's a weakling. You wouldn't just take that, would you? That's the thing. I just can't study for 5 minutes. That just doesn't work. If I have to do something, I will do a full job up at hand, even if I fail. But for you, as soft as an advice that I give out, this is actually the best piece of advice that actually works in the long term. So use your ego, if you want. But if you don't want to, and if you still don't have any motivation, even when I said all of this, what you have to do is minimum viable goals. Keep the goals that you want to achieve at a minimum. Let's say you study for 30 minutes. If you actually commit to 3 minutes, now you have to trick your mind. Let's say you have to study for 2 hours. That's a big set goal. But let's say you first finished the first chunk, which is 30 minutes. You can be happy with that because that's the minimum goal that you set yourself. And because you attained that first goal, you can be, all right, I'll just reward myself. Or 9 times out of 10, what happens? You don't want to leave, because what happens when you're in such a focused period where your mind is just engulfed in the task at hand? You just don't feel to give out right now. Just as if you're playing a video game and someone enters your room, or while you're watching a movie or a show. Please get out. Don't want to hear you. That's what you feel like to say, even when dinner is ready. So, in that regard, you have to take the same logic, apply it in study as well. When you're in such deep focus, you just don't want to get interrupted. And so you will be propelled to move that further. And what happens is this minimum viable goal happens to be a kind of self-prophecy where you achieve the goal, even if it's a minimum viable goal, you're still happy with it. And you keep on causing this victories, and this becomes what you look back at, and you just want to keep it up. You want to keep this momentum. You don't feel it to break it anymore because you've just established a cycle. For you to break it just doesn't feel right anymore. You have all this progress, you just don't want to lose it anymore. So you have something to hold, which is your progress. At minimum viable goals allows you to create this progress. Now you don't feel to give up just yet. You don't want to just say, oh, after day 25, you're just 5 days away from day 30. For a whole entire month, you stayed consistent in 2-hour study. Do you really want to make these 5 days, one of them, the day where you just remain inconsistent for the whole month? Or do you want to reach that whole month? You want to reach that whole month. So you want to study for 2 hours. That's the same logic. Set minimum viable goals. Goals that are, I guess, smaller than your big goal. And then you find yourself tricking your mind, because 30-minute study, you don't want to break it. You want to do more and more and more until you reach 2 hours. And that's just the nature of things. Tricking your mind is actually a very powerful technique to break procrastination. And that's what I have told you to do. As I have summarized everything that Justin Sun has actually taught me, I've actually learned this through him. So make sure you watch him and watch my next video that actually goes down to a specific type of procrastination that you face. See you in the next video.